Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Slow Life Trading. Hey, I want to tell you about the free money trade from last week. Last week was a rough week, okay? And I want to tell you about it. We had, first of all, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed, guys, please subscribe. We'd love to have you aboard. Anyway, let's get to it. So last week we had 3 fills on the free money trade. And as you know, last week was a very, very volatile week. And saying it was a volatile week is just a way of putting it nice, okay? For instance, on Monday, Friday's close was at 55.05, and the market ended up closing Monday at 55.64. Go figure on that. But before it closed at 55.64, it didn't move that much. And then on Tuesday, we didn't get a fill. And then on Wednesday, we got a fill. And Wednesday was the day where the market took a beating, okay? And then Thursday, I got a crazy fill that I can't even explain. And then Friday, we didn't get a fill. So let's go through it. Here we go. So Monday, the Friday's close was 55.05, and our position where we had was 56.10. Okay, so we needed it to stay under 56.10, which was 105 points, which was pretty cool. The market ended up closing at 55.64, but before it closed, I think it may have went a little bit higher than that, but not by much. Okay, in fact, if I look at it right now, the high for the day Monday was 55.70, 636. So we never got no closer than 40 points for the most part. So Monday was an easy day. Tuesday, we almost got fills, but we didn't get nothing. So nothing happened on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, here's where the problem happened. We took an L Wednesday. We took a loss Wednesday, okay? But this is where discipline comes in. Because remember, we plan this thing to never lose. But we do know that you can lose, okay? So here's what happened on Tuesday. The pre-market was down huge. I'm talking like 40 points or something like that. I can't really remember exactly what it was down, but the pre-market was down pretty big, okay? And the previous close from Tuesday was 55 and some change. I don't even remember what the change was. Well, when I looked at the number on Charles Schwab, it said I needed to be at like 54, I think it was 54.45 or 54.50, I think, which would have been like 95 points. Not bad, okay? But then what remember I say that if the market moves big, then you cancel your trade and you try to get out as far as you can. Well, this is something that I'm learning about Thinkorswim. You know, I'm getting into Thinkorswim, kicking and screaming, okay? So when I looked at the numbers on Thinkorswim, it was going to have me be like 150 points away. And I first set that up for 150 points away. But then when the market opened, it didn't feel, so I canceled it and said, I'm just going to try to get as far away as I can. Okay, so what I ended up doing was getting at the 54.35s. If I would have gotten at the, hang on just a minute, guys. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So when I looked at Thinkorswim, the number was going to have me be like 150 points away, or 155 points away. Where's 154 and some change? So I just call it 155. Okay. So if I would have got that number, which would have been 5,400, and stayed with it and just waited, that trade would have failed. In fact, I know some of my students end up getting the 53.85s. Okay. Well, the market ended up closing at 54.27, which means it was down like 128 points that day. So I ended up losing. But here's the thing that stopped me. You have to be disciplined, okay? Remember I say, once it gets to $1, get out of the trade. Or, sometime if you see a strong momentum, you might want to get out of the trade early. Well, I ended up getting out of the trade at $1 and took a loss. But, of course, as soon as I done that, I saw it go back down to like 60 cents, and I could have got out for less. But don't matter about all that. I'm glad I got out because this thing ended up closing at 54.27, and remember I had the 54.35, so I would have took a big L. Instead of losing that $1, it would have been something like $700 or $800. Okay, so that's where your discipline comes in. Of course, we shooting for this thing to never lose. Okay, but you have to have a parachute just in case something does happen. Do you hate you lose? Oh man, it hurts. But we know over the long haul, if you discipline, these losses can be made up. Now, if you're only doing the free money trade, it may take longer to make them up. You can make them up. But once you start putting the other part of the golden goose to it, you can make them up, okay? And that's what we do. So you take the loss, be disciplined, and in some cases, you can just stop and don't get in another trade. Or there are in other cases you can say, okay, well, I'm gonna see if I can go further. Well, make sure you look at your numbers first, okay? And then try to go further. And then when you're going further, make sure you go in that direction when the market is headed in that direction. And be careful still have your exit plan in place, because you could go further and still could keep going. Or you could get on the opposite side of it and the market could do a reverse. Okay? So be disciplined and follow the rules. When it hits your exit target, exit the trade. Okay? And yeah, you're gonna cry, but at least you'll just be crying. If you stay in this thing and lose big, you're gonna be doing more than crying. Okay? So that's what happened on Wednesday. And then Thursday, I had a trade that didn't even make sense. Okay, the market closed Wednesday at 54.27. And when I did the numbers, because this time I followed the numbers on Thinkorswim, okay? When I did the numbers on Thinkorswim, it had me being 158 points away. And I was like, oh, this joke ain't gonna feel. Lo and behold, this sucker filled 158 points away. And I had, and it closed the previous day at 54.27, and then it ended up closing for that day at 53.99. So it was down, but it was only down like 28 points. No big deal, especially when you're 158 points away. What did I learn from this? Because a lot of people think that just because I've been trading for a long time, I'm still learning. I'm learning a lot. First of all, this is the major thing that I learned. When you looking at your numbers on Charles Schwab, once the market closed, those numbers don't change, okay? And it stays the same. So if some new news come into it, you're still basing it on the numbers that happened when that market closed. Let me just give you an example. Let's say, for instance, when I'm setting up my trade for Monday, I'm looking at the numbers from Friday on Charles Schwab, okay? What if something big happens over the weekend? Well, a lot of times it'll show it in the pre-market, okay? So that's why I say cancel your trade and then try to go further away. But with Thinkorswim, and keep in mind, guys, you got to remember I'm one of these guys that's a very low-tech kind of guy. So I have been reluctant to change from Street Smart Edge, which is a trading platform on Charles Schwab, to the new trading platform since Charles Schwab has bought Thinkorswim, to the Thinkorswim trading platform. The screen is a whole lot more busy. It's a whole lot going on that screen, so it's hard to read, okay? And it's hard to understand. But what I'm starting to find out, because I've been forced to have to switch over, is that There's a lot of stuff on there that we don't use, but there's a whole lot of stuff on there. Once you learn how to use it, it can really benefit you. Okay. And this, what I'm getting ready to talk about here, is one of them. And what it is that with Charles Schwab, once the market closes on the SPX, it doesn't give you any movement until the market opens again. With Thinkorswim, it's giving you movement even when the market is closed. So the number that we use to make this adjustment for our free money trade is constantly changing with whatever is happening in the market or in the world at that time. So if I would have just stuck with my number on Wednesday, which would have been 150 points, which would have had me at 5,400 instead of 5,435, not only would I have won, I would have won easy, because I still would have been 27 points away from where it closed. Okay. And you say, wow, Robert, that's still just 27 points. But here's the thing. If you look at that day, okay, and I'm going to have to go back and look at it to be for sure. In fact, let me pause it and I'm going to go back and look at that. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm going to try to explain to you what I was talking about here. Just a minute here. Okay, this is a 3-minute chart, guys, okay? Now, if you look, and I'm on the East Coast, so the market closes at 4 o'clock. Okay, right here, the market is at, this is at what time? 3:36. Let's go back to 3:30, right there. Right here, the market is at, let's see where it's at. About, well, I still would have lost at that point in time. Excuse me. But this is why you wouldn't have been afraid at the with the other one. You got 30 minutes to go right there, right? And the market's at 54.34. And then he climbs up. And at right here on this one, you're at about 54.42. And now you got, what, 24 minutes to go. And then up until right here, it's at 54.46, which means you would have been 46 points away from that 5,400. And that's with 18 minutes to go, right? Now, boom, right here. In those last 18 minutes, that's when it started coming down, okay? Coming down, coming down. As you can see, it got as low. If you really look at that little thing, it touched 54.20, okay? And that's with, let's look at the time here. That's with 3 minutes to go. So you wouldn't have been afraid because your price would not have changed on your deal because you only had 3 minutes to go. So it would have been pretty much an easy win for you if I would have just known at the time and stuck with Thinkorswim. So what I learned from that is having that live, hang on, let me get this up here right. Yeah. Having that deal where the market, where the Thinkorswim is keeping up with the market live, even when the market is closed, I'm realizing how big that is. So here's the new thing that I'm going to be doing. On a regular day, when you get the market, the pre-market is not, really up or down that much. What I'm going to do is look at both of them. Oh, here's the other thing is, with Thinkorswim, when you're using it, it's constantly changing, right? So you want to be looking at that number probably in the last 15 or 20 minutes before the market opens and go with that number before you make your adjustment. Now you only got to use that number when it's when you see the pre-market is moving big. But when the market is flat, what I think I'm gonna do is just go with regular Charles Schwab. But if I see the market moving big, rather than try to guess and move out as far as I can, what I'm gonna do is be using the Thinkorswim number. Because if I would have used that Thinkorswim number, I wouldn't have took that L, okay? But I tell you what, I sure was glad I took that L, because if I would have stayed in, I would have had a bigger loss. And that's what discipline does. And that's why I tell you that, yeah, we want to win every single time. And most of the time with the free money trade, it's going to be an easy trade. But it's not a guaranteed trade. This ain't no savings account. Okay, this is trading. So we have to realize that there is a possibility that we can lose, but it's going to be rare. And the reason why it's going to be rare, guys, really the free money trade just got better. Well, it probably been better, but it just got better as far as me knowing. And it's because of Thinkorswim. Okay? This was a very, very volatile week. I mean, we had days where the S&P was down, 700 or 800 points at one point during the day. Not the S&P, sorry. The Dow. The Dow was down 700 or 800 points. That is huge, okay? And the S&P was down, 120. So from Wednesday, the previous day's close was 55.55. And it got all the way down to 54.20. That's 135 points. It ended up closing 128 points down. But 128 points is over a 3% move, okay? 3%. If you go and look in the look at the Dow and you know what? Again, I gotta go ask. Since I brought it up, I'm gonna go look and see. Hang on a minute. Okay, I just looked it up. It said about 10% of the time to market a move plus or minus 3%. I didn't know it that often, but that's okay. If it moves that much, more than likely, as you see, volatility kicks up, the pre-market is going to be up big, and now we know that Thinkorswim allows for it for our free money trade. So even though on Wednesday it had over a 3% move, if we would have followed Thinkorswim, it had it where we were going to be, oh, you know what? That wasn't a 3% move. I'm sorry. That was not a 3% move. That was 2 point something percent. It was not a 3% move. Well, Thinkorswim had us to the point where we were going to be close to being away 3%. Okay. And then on Thursday, when I got that crazy feel, I was 3% away and got a crazy feel. And then here are the other two things I got to tell you. On both Monday and Wednesday, we got 15 cents instead of 10 cents. So on Monday, we made not 0.8%, we made 1.3 or something like that percent. Okay. But can losses happen? I have never said that losses couldn't happen. They will happen. And that's why we have to have a plan for when it does. Does it hurt? Heck yeah, it hurts. Okay. Man, it hurts. But you can still live. If you stay in it, you know, it could be worse. Now, here's the sad part about it is when you exit it, you take a loss and it still could have won. Those are the ones that really hurt. But we never know when that's going to happen. So you have to be disciplined and follow a plan. And that's why we have other parts that can help make up for those losses and keep us going so we can make our 10% a month. Okay? Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm in here and enjoying friends here out of town. And hey, I'm still loving it, guys. Still loving it. Anyway, guys, enjoy your weekend. Hope this video was educational to you. And in the meantime, peace out, guys. And y'all, please keep it slow. Talk to you later. Bye.